In this video, we will compare and contrast two different paintings of the Last Supper. The most notable one is done by Leonardo da Vinci, and out of the many other versions, one of the few successful recreations of da Vinci's Last Supper is done by Tintoretto. Leonardo da Vinci painted in a high Renaissance style, while Tintoretto's style of painting was Mannerism. We will discuss and analyze Leonardo da Vinci's painting first and then Tintoretto's version, and as the video progresses, the comparisons will be evident. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy it. To begin, Da Vinci's painting was painted in the fresco style with oil and tempera paints, which made the painting deteriorate because Da Vinci was using experimental techniques on the painting. Instead of painting in the buon fresco style, applying pigments to wet plaster, Leonardo used a style known as a secco, painting on dry plaster. Because he painted on dry plaster, the colors did not blend into the surface as well, and this caused the painting to be much more fragile and led to its poor condition. In Leonardo's Last Supper, the layout is largely horizontal. The large table is seen in the foreground of the image with all of the figures behind it. The painting is largely symmetrical with the same number of figures on either side of Jesus. There's a one-point perspective in the painting with the focal point on Jesus' head. The horizontal table is an example of linear perspective, and Christ is at the vanishing point at the center of the painting and the table. Leonardo painted this artwork at a standpoint of 13 feet off the ground, so when its full theatrical effect is shown, it appears to be an extension of the real architecture of the refectory. There is a design of this painting's reverse outlining perspective, in which the actual fresco perspective is reversed step by step until its primary traces are recovered. It has been found to show that Leonardo used geometry and proportions to figure out the dimensions he would need to use to fully utilize his space and portray the painting to its full effect. Leonardo uses natural light without halos and instead uses a window to frame Christ. He also uses food on the table to exhibit symbolism. A few of them are the bread and wine, alluding to the body and blood of Christ. Another example is the apple or pomegranate, indicating that Christ is the new Adam. In Leonardo's painting, only Jesus and the disciples are shown. The scene shown is the moment just after Jesus says that one of his disciples will betray him. He says, "One of you will betray me." Because of this proclamation, there's some arguing occurring among the disciples. Despite the arguing, Jesus shows a sense of calm that draws the attention away from the surrounding pandemonium. Christ reaches out for the bread and wine in the painting, and what's interesting is that his hands are spread out, so it seems as if he is actually reaching for a bowl. Judas also reaches for the bowl, and he is the one that will betray Jesus. He is bribed by the Romans, and the painting shows Judas holding a small pack that contains his payment. Judas reaching up for the bowl is the way Christ identifies who will betray him. The Last Supper by Tintoretto is painted using very different media. This painting is done as oil on canvas, which is much more durable than Da Vinci's painting and is thus in much better condition. In Tintoretto's painting, there is much less of a structured layout. The large table is diagonal and seemingly splits the image into two separate parts. There is no symmetry seen in Tintoretto's painting. There is a one-point perspective, but the focal point is off to the side in a dark area of the room. This painting is very askew compared to Da Vinci's painting, and Christ glows, which brings it back to spiritual symbolism in a way that permeates the entire space of this painting. Throughout this painting, Tintoretto uses only two light sources, one from a lamp and another from the halo around Christ. The lamp illuminates the angels in the painting, and compared to high Renaissance art, it doesn't indicate the spiritual through the natural. To the right side of the painting, the light from Christ's halo points toward a woman, and her head casts a deep shadow that creates a diagonal line pointing back to Christ. The image in Tintoretto's Last Supper is very much different. The many figures are shown in this painting besides Jesus and the disciples. There are servants, servers, angels, and animals. Also, the scene shown in this painting is different. The disciples are still in the midst of their meals, having no idea of what is to come later that night. This image is much more complex than Leonardo's painting. Also, there is much more movement and energy. The table being drawn at a diagonal line alone moves the audience back to the vanishing point in the upper right corner of the painting, compared to Leonardo's vanishing point at the center. Due to the activeness of his painting, the audience may get pulled to different parts of the painting, such as Christ's halo and the orthogonals of the table. Unlike Leonardo's painting, Tintoretto depicts Jesus Christ offering the bread after he says to the apostles, "Take the bread, for this is my body, take the wine, for this is my blood," which is the literal enactment of the Eucharist. Overall, there are many differences that can be found between two paintings that were of the same topic. Besides from Tintoretto's version, there are many other versions of the Last Supper, and even one of the most successful ones have many differences in comparison to Leonardo da Vinci's. They use very different painting styles, and the comparisons range from the smallest details, such as the angle the table was drawn, to the focus of their painting.